So hello, welcome to another Nickjitsu guitar lesson. This is a kind of quick one based on the Hendrix pentatonic. It's just an expansion of that. I'm a big believer in taking what you know and stretching it for all it's worth so that you can use it all over the place. And you don't have to learn lots and lots of really complex scales and sit there talking about your lemon twist mixolydian scale, and pontificating with people with beards who smoke pipes about music theory. You don't need to know a lot of that stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to take a pentatonic and we're going to use a little bit of theory. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to take an L shape, and if I want a Dorian sound out of my D minor, if I play a D minor here and I want a Dorian sound, little L shape, you go up 2 frets and up a string. And if you play a minor pentatonic, over all three positions, all 3 root notes, you get what would be a Dorian sound. If you want an Aeolian sound, which is the natural minor sound, then you do an L shape, but you do it this way. So the L shape would go on a D, a G, and an A. So you'd play D pentatonic, G pentatonic, and A pentatonic, like that. And that would give you a more Aeolian type sound. And what this does, this relates back to diatonic theory. If a Dorian is the second mode of a major scale. So in this case, D Dorian is the second mode of C. You got C, D, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, C. And you'll notice that the second, the third, and the sixth are all minor chords, like that. And you just do the same. If you want an Aeolian sound, you do exactly the same, except you start on F, because D would be the sixth. So if that's the sixth, you've got the diminished straight after it, and then you've got the F, which is the 1, and then you've got the G minor, which is the 2, and then the 3, which is the other minor, that's A minor. But we're going to deal with the Dorian sound just now. We've got D minor, E minor, A minor. And each one has a specific kind of flavour over the top. The D minor over a D minor chord just sounds like D minor. So yeah. You know, you've heard it a million times before. A little jazz trick, guys like George Benson, these kind of guys, they'll use the minor scale a fifth away, or the minor pentatonic a fifth away from the actual root note they're playing over. So if they're playing over D minor, they'll actually be playing an A minor pentatonic. But don't forget that your kind of home note is still D. All right. If you use E minor pentatonic over the top of a D minor, oops, sorry, I'm going into 8 pentatonic there. You get a really weird sound. It sounds wrong, but it's right. It's all the right notes. It's like the Morecambe technique. It's all the right notes, but not necessarily in the right order. If you don't understand what the Morecambe technique is, you've got to look up a sketch called Morecambe and Wise and Andrew Preview. Look at that sketch, you'll understand completely. That's my basic approach to music. Him and Les Dawson. Top guys. Anyway, where was I? Oh, aye. So, I always think of when I play 2 frets away from the root note, if I'm playing that pentatonic, I always think of that like a question. So I'll be playing a D minor, and then I'll play in D minor, and then go into E minor, which won't quite fit. And then, as long as I come back to D minor again, it sounds like it's meant to be something. It sounds like it's meant to be a phrase. And this is the very beginnings of playing outside. When you play jazz and you start to play outside, you've got to come back in again. Otherwise, you just sound like that. Oh. No, I didn't. Just checking I didn't hit a right note. But not hitting the right note, that's what jazz is all about, really. That's how you get that sound. So D minor, I'll play a D minor phrase. And then I'll repeat that phrase in E minor, and you get a little bit of, ooh, where's he going with that? And then I'll end up back in D minor again. So let's have a look at putting together those three scales and see what kind of colours we can get. So when you play the three scales, there's a cool little thing happens. You've got D minor pentatonic, E minor pentatonic, and A minor pentatonic. And they're all from the key of C. But when you play them all together, if you scrunched them up into like a super scale, you'd get this. And that's the D Dorian. Try it, work it out. You know, play all three scales together, write out the notes, and you'll find, with all the common notes, that's what you get. And of course, Dorian is the second mode of C major, and C major contains those three pentatonics. So, have I lost you yet? Are you still on the edge of your sleeping bag? You're playing outside, just scalar kind of. And you're actually creating a Dorian sound. You can start, you know, using wider intervals, but when you start playing the E minor pentatonic, especially over the D minor, that's when you start getting the Dorian sound. And the same works when you're in the Aeolian sound. If it's D Aeolian, you use this, that L shape, and of course, if you run D, G, and A minor pentatonics together, you get D Aeolian. And what happens about Phrygian, I hear you cry? I said, what happens about Phrygian, I hear you cry? Same thing. Because when you're looking at the Dorian shape, you've got Dorian on D, and then you've got the E and the A, you've got that L shape. That second one, that kind of corner, is where your Phrygian would work. And all those pentatonics, if you're playing an E minor, because you've got that F in the D minor. So you got that, there's your E minor there, with an F in it. Nice. Nice flamenco style chord. So, and Phrygian is that kind of wee flamenco scale, isn't it? You know. A wee bit of Rodrigo, anybody? There's many, many, many things you can do with pentatonics. And we could literally be here all day. But I'll leave that for another video. I think you've heard enough just now. One thing to be careful about is always think about your phrasing when you're playing. And this just goes for music in general. Don't kind of play just, you know... you know, all that kind of stuff, or just go straight to the... if you do, try and repeat it, and then try and play it in one of the other scales that you've got. One of the ideas that I used to use was to take a phrase, and you can take it, you can do this with any phrase. Just take a simple little phrase in A minor pentatonic, 4 notes, like that. What I'd do is I'd move it up to the next scale shape. Might necessarily not hit the right note. Now it depends if you're playing Dorian or Aeolian. And then you go up to the next scale shape, then the next. So you'd end up with a phrase. That's a really simple example of, you know, how you can take one idea and start playing it throughout all these different pentatonic shapes. So if we use that same idea between our like superimposing pentatonics, we can superimpose, you know, if we want an Aeolian sound, for example. So we're going to use A Aeolian. To get that Aeolian sound, we need the pentatonics of A, D, and E. And what we're going to do, I can play a lick in A, go up to the next shape. Now it's Aeolian, so it's got an F in it. Go to the E pentatonic. So there's one note different. And then play the E pentatonic here, maybe. Then the D pentatonic. So I can play a different lick. To the A pentatonic, and then maybe to the E pentatonic again, and then come back on myself back to the A. So I can start to take one phrase and just start to twist it and turn it and twist it and turn it until you get lots of different ideas and different colours coming out. So I hope that's helped a wee bit with expanding your knowledge of just 2 simple scales. So I hope you enjoyed that, and do the thing with the what's it and the bell and the thingamabob. And don't forget, album out, Hyper Real, wherever it is kicking about somewhere. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye bye.